These are some of my favorite cubes at the moment, and today I kind of just want to talk about some of the innovations that some of these cubes have, and I'm just gonna ask the question if these features are actually necessary. I just want to see how, like, do we really need any of these innovations whatsoever, and like, is it really necessary? Let's just go ahead and let's talk about some of these. So let's just go over the first like really necessary innovations that we needed. 4-speed cubes, rounded pieces, corner cutting, springs, all of that. I feel like it's necessary for faster turning to be possible. And right now on this, I think $15 cube, which is a Maglev version of a $9 cube, the RS3 in 2020, it can corner cut past 45 degrees and has pretty good reverse corner cut. I feel like that was necessary in order to make it easier for people to get world records or whatever and like turn really fast. And this also has torpedoes, so popping is not an issue unless you kind of force it. So yeah, most modern speed cubes today can turn really fast. They have really great corner cutting. You can actually turn really fast on it. I honestly just do not understand how Min Thai managed to get a 22-second solve on one of those Rubik's brands that couldn't turn. Maybe someday I'll buy one of those Rubik's brands that can't actually turn, because now Rubik's kind of actually fixed their shit for some reason, and I honestly want to get a cube before that. Another necessary innovation, well, you can see here, is magnet. And by magnets, I mean corner edge magnets. Oh wait, that's not in it. Initially, it was brought up that magnets would, I guess, give you a snap on each turn or whatever and like keep it aligned a bit. However, it actually doesn't do that. On cubes with weaker magnets like this kind of in the middle of weak and strong, you don't really feel that much of the magnet like clicking into place each turn if you turn really fast, but if you turn slow, you can definitely notice it like align itself into place a lot. But what magnets do help is, and especially on bigger cubes like this and this, it keeps the cube stable and prevents other layers that you are not turning from moving. So probably might not be useful for 2x2, considering you're basically holding like almost all of the layers you're gonna turn. But on 3x3 and up, it basically means that you're probably not going to get like as much catches because some layers misaligned or whatever. And this is the resting state of magnetic cubes compared to some non-magnetic cubes. So I think these are necessary innovations in cubing, so it's actually possible to turn fast without your cube popping everywhere and floating, and so you don't have to do wrist turns for every turn. I wouldn't want to use a cube that couldn't finger trick. And now let's get into customization systems. So let's just take off a centerpiece here, and we see here there's a screw, and a lot of cubes, especially before the GTS 3, had either just a screw and a spring. That was it. Like, you couldn't adjust it whatsoever. Like, you can only adjust the centerpiece travel distance. But a lot of cubes now, especially the Tornado V3M, if I can get this centerpiece off, have some way to customize the screws and spring tension here, like the spring compression. And this one obviously has this thing, but a lot of customization systems are really different, especially the Moyu one. This is kind of, I guess, more well known. Honestly, this is probably necessary considering, although these are different, if you look at the GAN cubes, a lot of them you'd have to like take out the spring and actually like do a spring swap. What's basically a spring swap, and you still have to, it's, I guess the GES nuts on the GAN cube basically would work as a screw, and so basically you're just doing a screw and spring swap, but they actually give you the extra springs. I've tried doing that before like multiple times, and it's honestly hard to kind of get a good tensioning. For the GAN Air Master I had before I got the GAN X, like that one, it was still kind of difficult. You have to change the GS nuts, but it actually had tension settings unlike the older GS nuts. But now with this, you can use your fingers, or you can use this tool and you can compress the springs or the maglev distance by turning it. There's obviously different systems for it, but you can end up making the springs a bit stronger in the case you want to slow down your cube, or you can loosen it. There's a lot of settings for this one, at least on this cube specifically. So you can actually change it to however you want. And for customizations system like this and in the Tornado V3M, I think these are kind of good. Although maybe this actually kind of would bring up the price a bit. Although in the RS3M 2020, you get the GTS3 spring compression system in a $9 cube. So I guess we can say we really needed it, because before then you'd have to do spring swaps if you want to change how strong the springs are. So that's definitely necessary. And now we are on to corner core magnets. Oh my god. Okay, so in the Tornado V3M, it has corner to core magnets. So you can see here on the corner, there is a magnet there. And on the core, when you turn it, it would attract to the core magnet. What it intends to do is it kind of pulls the turn to, I guess, like a more smoother magnetic bump or whatever. Like instead of being a more defined magnetic snap, we just go more into pulling it towards the corner edge magnets, and I guess it makes the magnetic feel a bit smoother and makes it a bit stronger. But I noticed when I turn really fast, depending on how close the corner core magnets are, it doesn't really feel that different from a normal magnetic cube. But I guess it just feels a bit smoother than like normal magnets are. So I can definitely feel that. But if you look at cubes like the GAN 12 Maglev and the GAN 13 Maglev, those magnets are so long that it can literally, with the Maglev feature, auto align it. Yeah, corner core magnets do affect cubes somewhat, but I don't think they're really necessary, because at least on some cubes it just doesn't really feel differently. And now the last innovation, Maglev. Maglev is where two ring magnets are put together with the same poles to where it repels each other. When you move it closer together, it basically acts like a spring. So like when you compress it or when you put them, it gets stronger. And when you turn the blue cup to change the spring compression or the magnet distance or whatever, I guess now, it basically works the same, but it does have a different effect when, especially for a system like this with the same customization system, the effect of the maglev changes is just, I guess, exponential, and a lot of the settings are a bit stronger than with springs. So yeah, like if you set it to the highest setting, it would basically act like really weird and it would just feel really slow, unlike a spring. I also remember when I saw JPern's video on this cube, he said it kind of just felt like really frictionless and like really fast. The original WRN 2021 is also really fast, but I don't have one, but I'm getting one right now because I broke this corner piece and I'm gonna fix it, so I'm gonna try to also compare it to that. But I kind of feel like this doesn't really feel too different to a cube with a spring. It just kind of just feels faster, which can achieve with normal spring cubes, so I don't think it's really necessary like whatsoever. I feel like springs kind of are better because you have more settings and it's not, strongest setting is not too extreme. This one, it gets too strong like really quickly, so I don't think it's really necessary. The only reason why I got the cube is just the purple internals. Oh, and with springs, as long as you loop the core or whatever in cubes where you can actually do that. Tornado V3 doesn't actually have that much spring noise, so not really necessary. But for cubes that do have a lot of spring noise, just use some lube and you'll get rid of it. Even with maglev, like you still have to maintain the cube anyways when you have to take a piece out, clean up all of the lube, and then like re-lube it. Like it still doesn't make it to where you don't have to maintain it. It does make it to where you don't need to lube the core, but you're still gonna end up setting it anyway by putting piece lubes into the cube. And I think that's pretty much it. While some of the cubing innovations kind of useful, I just feel like some stuff are not really useful at all. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.